Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the expectations of being perfect at everything? As if every mistake was an unforgivable failure? Imagine being only 12 years old and carrying the weight of always having to be the best on your shoulders. This is the story of Maria, a brilliant and dedicated girl whose life was guided by an unrelenting pursuit of perfection. From an early age, Maria was encouraged to overcome every challenge and accept nothing less than excellence. Top grades, medals, trophies, all were part of her world. But behind every achievement, there was growing pressure that began to overshadow the joy of being a child. What happens when the pursuit of perfection becomes a burden? In a math competition, something unexpected happens. Maria doesn't achieve first place. That moment, which could have been just another setback, becomes a turning point in her life. She is faced with an overwhelming sense of failure and fear of disappointing those she loves. Get ready to follow an emotional journey of self-discovery and resilience. We'll explore how Maria faces her fears, defies expectations, and learns that it's okay to fail. That, in fact, every mistake is an opportunity for growth and learning. If you've ever felt the pressure to be perfect or know someone who struggles with this dilemma, this story will resonate deeply with you. Stay with us until the end and discover how a young girl transformed pressure into freedom and rediscovered the joy in life's small imperfections. And if inspiring stories like this make a difference in your day, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. That way, you won't miss the upcoming narratives that could change how you see the world. Maria wakes up to the insistent sound of her alarm clock, even before the sun rises. Her impeccably organized room reflects her personality. Books aligned alphabetically, shiny trophies and medals on the shelf, colorful planners marking every day's commitments. At 12 years old, Maria is already seen as a prodigy by everyone around her. At breakfast, her parents greet her with proud smiles. "Ready for today's science test?" her mother asks. "Remember, you can win first place again," her father adds. Maria forces a smile and nods, though she feels a knot in her stomach. The expectations are constant and the pressure is suffocating. At school, she is the exemplary student. Top grades are routine, and teachers praise her at every opportunity. But few notice that behind her focused eyes is a girl who barely breathes for fear of making mistakes. While her classmates play during recess, Maria reviews formulas and concepts, always chasing the next achievement. One afternoon, during gym class, the group is challenged to climb a rock wall. Maria has never tried it before, and the mere thought of not being perfect paralyzes her. While the other students laugh and enjoy their clumsy attempts, Maria steps aside, making up an excuse to avoid participating. The fear of failing in front of others outweighs her desire to try something new. At home, the routine is even stricter. Extra classes in music, languages, sports. Every minute is planned so that Maria can excel in all possible areas. Her parents believe they are opening doors to a bright future, but fail to see that they are closing the windows of her childhood. One night, exhausted after hours of studying, Maria looks out the window and sees children her age running through the streets, flying kites, and laughing without a care. A solitary tear falls down her face. "Why can't I be like them?" she whispers to herself. But she quickly wipes it away, suppressing any feeling that might distract her from her goals. The day of the much-anticipated math competition finally arrives. Maria has spent weeks preparing, reviewing every theory, solving complex problems. In the auditorium, the atmosphere is tense. She sits in her chair, the paper in front of her, and begins the test. The first questions flow easily, but then she encounters a problem that makes her freeze. Time seems to speed up and her hands start to tremble. The equation doesn't make sense, and for the first time she doesn't know the answer. The results are announced, and Maria is not in first place. A deafening silence fills her mind. She feels the ground beneath her feet give way. On the way home, she avoids her parents' gaze, the weight of disappointment crushing her heart. She locks herself in her room, sinking into silence. "I failed," she repeats endlessly. The following days are a whirlwind of emotions. Maria avoids her friends, her family, anything that could remind her of her failure. Her parents notice the change, but don't know how to address it. Until, on a quiet afternoon, her mother knocks on the door. "Can we talk?" she asks gently. Maria hesitates, but finally opens the door. Words pour out uncontrollably. She expresses how pressured she feels, the constant fear of not being good enough, the loss of joy in the things she once loved. Her parents, surprised and moved, listen attentively. They realize that in their efforts to prepare her for the future, they forgot to let her live in the present. With a tight hug, they promise that things will be different. Together, they decide it's time to find balance, to allow Maria to simply be a child. She starts seeing a therapist who helps her understand that making mistakes is part of learning. The anxiety begins to ease, and little by little her smile returns. Weeks later, the school announces a play. Excited, Maria decides to join. It's something new and challenging, but this time fear doesn't hold her back. During rehearsals, she makes friends, laughs at herself when she forgets a line, and discovers the joy of simply trying. On the day of the performance, nerves are inevitable. But when the curtains open, Maria steps onto the stage with confidence. At one point, she forgets a line, but improvises naturally. The audience doesn't even notice, and the applause at the end is deafening. But what matters most to her is the feeling of freedom, knowing she doesn't need to be perfect to be happy. Maria learns that failing isn't the opposite of success, but a part of it, and that life is much richer when we allow ourselves to grow through every experience, whether it's a triumph or a mistake. The days following the play were a rebirth for Maria. The lightness she felt improvising on stage awakened a new perspective. She realized that life isn't a series of tests to be passed, but a journey full of experiences to be lived. At school, Maria started participating in activities purely for fun. She joined the art club, even though she wasn't sure about her skills with brushes and colours. She joined a volleyball team, not for the trophy, but for the joy of being with friends. Each new step was a discovery, a world free from the chains of perfection. Her parents, attentive to the changes, were delighted to see the sparkle in their daughter's eyes return. They began valuing family moments more, the laughter at the dinner table, the stories she shared without fear of judgment. They understood that unconditional support was more valuable than any medal. One day, during a walk in the park, Maria found a girl crying because of a low test grade. Sitting beside her, Maria said, "You know, I used to think failing was the worst thing that could happen, but I've learned that it's just part of growing." The girl looked at her in surprise, and Maria smiled, sharing a bit of her own story. Therapy continued to be a safe space where Maria explored her feelings. She learned to celebrate small victories and see the value in her efforts regardless of the outcome. The anxiety that once consumed her was replaced by a calm confidence. She no longer needed to hide behind a mask of perfection. At home, weekends took on a new meaning. Instead of packed schedules, there was time for outings, family games, and moments of relaxation. Maria discovered hobbies she had never considered before, like gardening and photography. Each day was a new opportunity to get to know herself better. At the end of the school year, the teacher asked the students to write about something important they had learned. Maria didn't hesitate. She wrote about the beauty of self-acceptance, about the freedom she found in letting go of the need to be perfect. She shared how failing taught her more about herself than any success ever could. Her essay touched not only the teacher, but also her classmates. Many related to her feelings, and soon the classroom became a space of mutual sharing and support. Maria realized she wasn't alone, and that her vulnerability had the power to inspire others. In conclusion, Maria understood that true strength lies in embracing our imperfections, that life is richer and more meaningful when we allow ourselves to be who we truly are, free from the expectations of others or the pressures we place on ourselves. If you saw yourself in any part of this story, remember, it's okay to fail. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become an even better version of yourself. Thank you for joining us on Maria's inspiring journey. If this story touched your heart or made you reflect, leave a like and share it with someone who might benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to keep receiving more stories that inspire and transform. See you next time.